Have you ever helped someone and felt invisible after that? Have you ever given your time, your energy, your heart, and still felt empty inside? This is not just a story. This is a mirror. In a quiet village, surrounded by open fields and old wooden houses, lived a man named Daniel. Everyone in the village knew him. Not because he was rich, not because he was powerful, but because he was always there. If someone's roof leaked, Daniel fixed it. If someone was sick, Daniel brought food. If someone needed money, Daniel never asked questions. His door was always open. His hands were always ready to help. People call him a good man, a kind soul, a blessing to the village. And Daniel believed it. He believed that being good meant being needed. He believed that saying yes made him valuable. He believed kindness would protect him. But every night, when the village lights went out and silence filled the air, Daniel felt tired, not just in his body, but deep in his heart. He would sit alone on his bed, staring at the wall, asking himself, why do I feel so empty? Why does helping everyone feel so heavy? One morning, before the sun had fully risen, a loud knock broke the silence. It was his neighbor, Mr. Cole. Daniel, I need help fixing my bar today, he said. Daniel had planned to rest. His hands were sore. His back hurt from days of hard work. But he smiled anyway. Of course, he said. They worked under the hot sun all day. Daniel lifted heavy wood. He climbed ladders. He pushed his body past its limits. When the work was done, Mr. Cole wiped his hands and said, Good. Tomorrow, come early. I also need help with the fence. No thank you. No care. Just another demand. That night, Daniel lay on his bed, his body in pain, but the pain in his chest was worse. Days later, his friend Mark came by. Daniel, can you lend me some money? Just for a few weeks, he said. Daniel had helped him before, and before that too. The money was never returned. Still, Daniel reached into his pocket and gave it away. Weeks passed. Mark never spoke about the money. When Daniel finally asked, Mark laughed. Why are you counting? I thought we were friends. That moment, something broke inside Daniel. At the next village meeting, the elders talked about building a new well. Before Daniel could speak, someone said, Daniel will do it. He always helps. Everyone nodded. No one asked him. Daniel felt small, used, trapped by his own kindness. That evening, Daniel sat alone by the river, watching the water flow. An old traveler sat beside him and said quietly, You look like a man who gives too much and receives nothing. Daniel looked at him, shocked. How do you know? The traveler smiled softly. Because kindness without limits destroys the kindest hearts. Daniel listened. For the first time, that night, he did not sleep. Something inside him had started to wake up. Days passed, and the village felt different to Daniel. People still looked at him, but their eyes had changed. Some avoided him. Some watched him closely, as if trying to understand who he had become. Daniel felt the weight of it, the silence, the distance. There were moments when doubt came back. Late at night, when the house was quiet, was I wrong? Should I have stayed the same? But then his body would remind him. The pain was less now. His breath felt lighter, his mind clearer. One afternoon, Daniel was fixing his own broken door, something he had ignored for years, because he was always busy fixing others. A young man stood nearby, watching him. His name was Eli, a farmer from the edge of the village. You need help? Eli asked. Daniel looked at him, surprised. No one had asked him that in a long time. Yes, Daniel said slowly. That would be good. They worked together in silence at first. Then Eli spoke. I heard people say you stopped helping, he said carefully. Daniel paused. I did not stop helping, he replied. I stopped letting people use me. Eli nodded. My father was like you, he said softly. He gave everything and died tired, with nothing left for himself. Those words stayed in the air. After that day, small things began to change. When someone came to Daniel for help, he listened. He asked questions. He chose. Some people walked away when he said no, and Daniel let them go. Others stayed. They offered help in return. They said thank you. One morning, the village faced a problem. A storm had damaged several homes. People gathered, confused. They looked at Daniel, waiting. Daniel stepped forward. I will help, he said. but we will do this together. For the first time, no one argued. Men picked up tools. Women brought food. Children carried water. Daniel was not alone anymore. As they worked, Daniel felt something warm inside his chest. Not pride, not fear, balance. That evening, Daniel sat by the river again, the same place where everything began. The old traveler appeared once more. "You chose wisely," the traveler said. Daniel smiled faintly. "I was afraid," he admitted. "Afraid they would hate me." "They feared losing control," the traveler replied. "Not losing you." Daniel looked at the water flowing past. "So this is what strength feels like." The traveler nodded. "Kindness with limits creates respect. Without limits, it creates hunger." As the traveler walked away, Daniel felt calm. The village lights glowed softly behind him. For the first time in his life, Daniel knew this truth. Not everyone deserves your time. Not every request deserves your yes. And protecting yourself is not selfish. It is necessary. The village slowly settled into a new rhythm. And so did Daniel. Weeks passed, and something unexpected happened. People who once ignored him now greeted him with respect. Not warmth, but respect. Mr. Cole no longer knocked without asking. When he needed help, he came prepared, with tools, with thanks. Mark kept his distance, and Daniel felt no anger about it. Have you ever helped someone and felt Daniel spent time on himself now? Have you ever given your time, resting his body, your energy, your heart, sitting quietly and still felt empty inside? For years, this is not just everywhere. This is a mirror. Now, in a quiet village, he was finally present, surrounded by open fields. One morning, old wooden houses. The village elders called lived a man named not to assign work. Everyone in the village knew him. Daniel, one of them, not because he was rich. We want your advice. Not because he was Daniel powerful, felt something, but because he was always there. If someone's roof leaked, they were not demanding. If someone was sick, Daniel brought strong food. Storm had someone needed money again. Daniel never asked questions. The answer would have been door was always open. Daniel will his hands were always ready. This time Daniel spoke calmly. People call him a good man. I will help, he said. A kind soul, but only if we all take part. To the village, and only if this work Daniel is respected. He believed that being good, no one looked away. Being needed. They agreed. He believed that, and when the work began, yes, Daniel was not alone. He believed kindness would protect him. Voices checked every night when the village lights went out. For the first time, silence filled his kindness did not feel Daniel felt tired. That evening, not just in his body, Daniel walked home but slowly, deep in his heart. The sky calm above him. He would sit alone on his bed. He thought about the man staring at the wall, to be, always tired himself, always saying, "Why do I feel so?" Always hoping someone would notice. Why does helping everyone feel? He understood now. So heavy. They never noticed. One morning, because he never protected himself, had fully risen. Later that night, Daniel stood outside his home. Looking at his neighbor, Mr. Cole. "Have you ever felt like Daniel? I need help fixing my barn always today," giving, he said. Always Daniel helping. Planned to rest. Always putting yourself His hands last. Were sore. The his old traveler from days of hard one work. Final time. But he smiled anyway. "You learned the truth." "Of course," he said gently. They Daniel worked under the hot sun. "I thought kindness meant Daniel giving everything lifted away," heavy wood. He said. He climbed ladders. Real kindness He pushed his body past its limits. The traveler smiled. When the work was done, kindness Mr. Cole wiped his hands, including your own. The traveler walked away into the dark. "I also never helped with the fence." From that day on, thank you. Daniel lived different. Just another demand. Not colder. That night, Daniel lay on his bed, his body in pain. He helped with the pain in his chest. He said no when it was needed. Days later, he respected his friend Mark came by, and the village grew stronger. "Can you lend me some money?" Because one man finally set boundaries. Daniel had story feels like your life. And before that, if you've ever felt before that too, tired, the money was never returned. This is your sign. Daniel reached in helping others at the cost of yourself. Protect your energy. Choose who deserves your kindness. And if this story touched your heart, if you felt like Daniel even for a moment, subscribe for more stories like this.